You know what's funny about rich people? They never see the trap until it's too late. And now you're going to hear the story of how I put my daughter's fiancé behind bars for defrauding pensioners and losing their money in a casino. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for listening. Our wedding only needs important people, Mark, not your immigrant friends. My daughter's fiancé signed his own death warrant with 11 words. Daniel Harper, investment banker, old money from Connecticut, Princeton graduate, stood in my humble living room on Thursday evening and dismissed 30 years of sweat and sacrifice. I didn't raise my voice, didn't make excuses. I just slowly nodded. That calm smile my construction crews know as a sign that someone is about to learn a very expensive lesson. Daniel thought he was talking to some lucky contractor. He had no idea that the insignificant immigrant he was dismissing owned the connections capable of destroying his perfect $100,000 wedding. In 24 hours, his wedding would vanish, his reputation would crumble, and 150 guests would see who really matters. The disrespect didn't start on Thursday night. It had been building for months, one small blow after another. It began in March, when Daniel first saw my guest list. 27 names. My construction crew, foremen, the guys who helped me build Harmon Construction from scratch. Raul Mendez, who explained American building codes to me when I could barely speak English. Jim O'Connor, who vouched for me when banks wouldn't give a second look to an immigrant. They weren't just employees, they were brothers. "Dad, maybe we should reconsider some of the invitations," Sophia said carefully, leaning into Daniel. "The Harper family has certain expectations." Daniel nodded approvingly. "Nothing personal, Mark, but a wedding reflects the families. We have to think about image." Image? That word haunted me for weeks. By April, my list had been edited. The construction workers were gone. My poker buddies from the old neighborhood gone, too. Even Mrs. Gutierrez, who watched Sophia while I worked 18-hour days, too informal for a Harper wedding. "We want to keep it intimate," Daniel explained, reviewing the seating chart at my kitchen table. "Just family and those who matter in our circles." I watched my daughter's face during these conversations. Sophia, my pride and joy, the first Harmon with a college degree. She fidgeted nervously but stayed silent. "Love is blind," I told myself. "She'll understand in time." But it got worse. In May, Daniel suggested I update my wardrobe for the wedding events. He handed me the card of a family tailor. "Nothing personal, Mark, but you'll be meeting important people. First impressions are everything." Important people. That phrase again. The real blow came during the venue tour at the Connecticut Country Club in June. I had paid the $500 deposit myself, money earned brick by brick in 100-degree heat, while Daniel played rugby at his prep school. "This is Sophia's father," Daniel introduced me to the wedding planner. He's in construction." The tone suggested I fixed sewers, not built the luxury homes his friends lived in. But Daniel didn't know one thing. In 2019, Harmon Construction did a full renovation of the club's east wing. $2 million worth of work. I knew every board member by name, had their personal numbers, had bailed them out when the first contractor ran off the job. I just smiled and shook hands. By July, the picture was clear. Daniel was systematically erasing my life from his wedding. My business partners, too rough around the edges. Friends from church won't understand the social dynamics. Even my brother Richard, a successful cardiologist, raised questions. Is he well regarded in society? Richard had been saving lives for 20 years, but apparently that wasn't enough for the Harpers. The final insult came 3 weeks ago. Daniel arrived with a revised seating chart. I was placed at table number 12 in the corner by the kitchen doors. Sophia's mother, may she rest in peace, would have turned in her grave. Her photo on the mantel watched as this spoiled brat demeaned everything we had built. "It's just logistics, Mark," Daniel said, not meeting my eyes. "The front tables are for immediate family and key business contacts." Key business contacts? I built a $120 million company from nothing. Harmon Construction employed 340 people, completed 847 projects across 3 states. We built shopping malls, office complexes, luxury hotels. My company's logo was on construction sites from Manhattan to Albany, but I wasn't a key contact. That's when I started making calls, quiet inquiries about Daniel Harper and Harper Investment Group. What I found made my blood run cold and my resolve harden. Daniel wasn't just dismissive of my past. He was hiding dirty secrets of his own. Harper Investment Group managed $800 million in client assets. Impressive. But my private investigator, the same one I use for employee vetting, found irregularities. Missing client funds, unexplained transfers, $400,000 in gambling debts at Atlantic City casinos. Daniel Harper, who judged my worth, had been embezzling money from elderly clients to fund his lifestyle. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, had opened a formal investigation 2 months ago. Federal agents were building a case. Daniel's perfect wedding was scheduled for just weeks before his perfect world collapsed. But he didn't know I knew. He thought he was marrying into money, into my money, to solve his problems. The wedding was his last hurrah before the inevitable. On Thursday night, as he stood in my living room dismissing my immigrant friends, something snapped. This was no longer about social status. It was about character. About a man who had earned nothing questioning the value of a man who had earned everything. Daniel thought he was dealing with just another lucky immigrant contractor. He didn't understand that luck had nothing to do with it. For 30 years, I hadn't just been building structures. I had been building relationships, trust, respect, a reputation that opened doors and moved mountains. On Friday morning, Daniel Harper would learn how many mountains I could move, and how quickly his perfect wedding could vanish. On Friday at 7:30 a.m., my phone rang as I reviewed Harmon Construction's weekly reports. Daniel's name flashed on the screen. I always record business calls. 30 years in construction taught me. People say one thing, then deny it. Daniel was about to gift me his own words. "Mark, we need to talk." His voice held the arrogance I had come to despise. "I've been thinking about our conversation last night." "Yes?" "Look, there's something you need to understand. This wedding isn't just about Sophia and me. It's a union of 2 families. The Harper name means something in Connecticut. 4 generations." I stayed silent. Let him dig his own grave. "Mother is hosting the rehearsal dinner. The guest list is select. Those who shaped this community. Businessmen, politicians, old families." "I see. The thing is, Mark, your people, your friends from the construction site, they'd be uncomfortable in that setting. And frankly, they might make the other guests uncomfortable." My fingers tightened around the phone. "My people? Don't take this the wrong way. It's just reality. Look at the Hendersons. Their daughter married that tech guy last year. Beautiful wedding, but the guest lists were complimentary. His Silicon Valley, her Greenwich Society. Everyone stayed in their lanes. In their lanes. This boy was literally telling me to know my place. Daniel, tell me honestly, what do you think I do?" A pause. "You're in construction. You've done well for yourself, obviously. Sophia said you have your own company, Harmon Construction, right? And that's great, Mark. Really? My grandfather always said America needs skilled laborers. You've built a nice little business. But this wedding, the people attending, it's a different level of society." A different level of society. He was explaining social hierarchy to me like a child. "Tell me about this different level, son. Well, father's law firm partners, federal judges, the Whitman family, they own the largest bank in the county. Senator Morrison will be at the wedding. These are people who move markets, influence policy. They speak a particular language. What language? The language of real power, Mark. Old money, established influence. Listen, I don't mean to offend, but there's a difference between new money and, well, money that's been refined over generations. Like wine in a cellar, it gets better with age. So, my money isn't refined enough. It's not about the money per se. It's about how you use it, how you carry yourself, how you navigate certain social waters. His voice softened, as if explaining something to a confused immigrant. My family has been part of the Connecticut establishment for over a century. We know these people, understand their expectations, and you, frankly, don't. And that's okay. You've achieved the American dream, came here with nothing and built something. That's admirable. But Sophia is marrying into a different world, a world with different rules. The American dream. He said it like I'd received a consolation prize. Different rules, exactly. Listen, Mark, I need to be direct with you. This marriage is a chance for Sophia to elevate herself, to become part of something bigger than, well, where she came from. But it requires sacrifice, requires leaving some things behind. Some things, like her father's history, the people who helped raise her. What exactly are you asking me to do, Daniel? I'm asking you to think of Sophia. Maybe you could host a separate celebration for your people. Something informal, a barbecue, for instance, after the official ceremony. That way everyone is included, but in the appropriate setting. A barbecue for the insignificant people. And you think that's what Sophia wants? Sophia wants to fit into my family. She wants to be accepted, and she will be, if we're careful with the transitions. The transitions? Mark, I'll be frank with you. This wedding is about Sophia's future. Our future. The Harper family has connections that will help her career, her social standing, her entire life. But that requires being strategic about our associations. Strategic about our associations. I was an association that needed managing. You know, Daniel, you're absolutely right. This wedding should indeed reflect the circle of people you and Sophia associate with. Exactly. I knew you'd understand. Oh, I understand. Better than you think. Something in my tone shifted. Daniel fell silent. Is everything all right, Mark? Everything is perfect, son. You've laid it all out very clearly. Great. So, are we agreed on the changes to the guest list? We are definitely on the same page about who is worthy of attending this wedding. After the call, I sat in my study for 5 minutes, listening to the recording. Every word, every insult, every dismissal of my life, my friends, my worth. Daniel had just given me 23 minutes of evidence, and more importantly, he had given me the moral permission for what was to come. By noon, Daniel Harper would understand the difference between inherited privilege and earned power, and he would learn it the hard way. I made my decision at 11:47 a.m., looking at a photo of my daughter at her graduation on my desk. Sophia Fordham Business School Honors Graduate, the first Harmon in a cap and gown. I had worked double shifts for 4 years to pay her tuition, never missed a single parent-teacher conference or ceremony. That girl is my everything, but she deserves better than Daniel Harper. The phone rang. Sophia. Dad, Daniel said you had a good talk, that you understood about the wedding. Her voice sounded relieved but fragile-like. She'd been holding her breath for months. We definitely understand each other, baby. Good. I know it's difficult, but Daniel's family has their traditions, and honestly, it could be very beneficial for my career. His father represents major corporations, The opportunities. Yeah. Do you love him? Silence. Too long. Of course I love him, Dad. Why do you ask? Because love doesn't ask you to be ashamed of your past. Another pause. I'm not ashamed, Dad. I'm just trying to fit into his world, and sometimes that requires compromises. Compromises, just like her fiancé had said. Listen, baby. When Daniel comes over, does he ask about the pictures on the mantel? About your mother's story? About how we got here? Does he ask about the business? About the people who helped us? Does he want to know anything about the life that gave him the woman he supposedly loves? Silence. A man who truly loves you doesn't ask you to erase your history. He celebrates it. It's not that simple, Dad. His family, they have expectations. And our family? Don't we have expectations? I heard her quiet sniffles. My heart was breaking. Dad, I just want this to work. I want to be accepted. Sweetheart, you don't need to be accepted by those who won't accept you for who you are. After her call, I sat for 10 minutes, thinking about the man she was going to marry. The man who saw her father as a burden. The man hiding his own crimes while judging my character. The man who would spend a lifetime teaching her to be ashamed of the very strength that made her extraordinary. Then I opened my laptop and started making calls. First call, Leo Carrera, my private investigator. Leo, I need everything on Daniel Harper and Harper Investment Group. Financials, client complaints, SEC filings, everything. How fast? By 3 p.m. Damn, Mark, that's nearly impossible. Make it possible. $10,000 bonus if you deliver on time. Second call, the Connecticut Country Club. Hello, Mrs. Lee? This is Mark Harmon from Harmon Construction. I need to discuss the Harper-Harmon wedding booking. Yes, I understand it's short notice. A family emergency? Of course, the deposit will be refunded in full. The conversation lasted 12 minutes. Third call, the Four Seasons in Connecticut. Mr. Vega, it's Big Mark Harmon. We did your kitchen renovation in 2019. Remember? Finished ahead of schedule and under budget. I need a favor. The reservation for the 2,800-night presidential suite was suddenly cancelled due to a plumbing emergency requiring urgent repairs. By Harmon Construction. Fourth call, the Glen Island Yacht Club. A personal favor. In 2018, I built their entire dock system. Saved them $400,000 when the first contractor tried to cut corners. The owner, Thomas Wright, owed me not money, but reputation. Thomas, it's Mark. I need you to cancel the Harper's wedding booking. Can't explain right now. Yes, I know. It's their social event of the season. Trust me on this. By 2 p.m., Daniel's perfect venues were disappearing one by one. But I wasn't finished. At 2:47 p.m., Leo called back. Mark, you won't believe it. Daniel is in deep. The SEC has been investigating Harper Investment for 8 months. Client fund misappropriation. Suspicious transfers, $2.3 million. Go on. Worse, gambling debts. $400,000 at 3 casinos. He used client money to cover his losses. When does this go public? An FBI raid is scheduled for Monday morning. Arrest on Tuesday. Daniel Harper had 1 weekend left of freedom. 1 weekend to learn what happens when you disrespect the wrong immigrant. On Friday at 3:15 p.m., Daniel's panic began with a call from the wedding planner. I knew because Sophia called 20 minutes later, her voice trembling. Dad, something weird is happening. The planner said the country club canceled the booking. A family emergency. But that's nonsense. We have contracts. Very strange, baby. And the Four Seasons called too. Plumbing issues in the presidential suite. They're refunding the deposit? I sympathized, scrolling through Harmon Construction's client list. 30 years of building relationships was about to pay off. Dad, Daniel is panicking. He's calling everyone, looking for a venue, but everything is booked months in advance. I'm sure he'll find a solution. Daniel didn't know, no one did, but me how deep Harmon Construction's roots ran in Connecticut. We hadn't just built buildings, we had built the infrastructure of the entire social scene. At 3:45 p.m., a call from Glen Island Yacht Club. Mr. Harmon, it's Jennifer. I personally apologize for canceling the Harper's wedding. Mr. Wright explained the family circumstances. We're returning the $15,000 deposit, and he asked me to say, if you need anything else, just call. Thomas Wright understood loyalty. In 2018, I personally shepherded his project through City Hall, smoothed over all the rough edges. The club opened on time because of connections I'd built over decades. At 4:20 p.m., Sophia again, Dad, 3 more venues cancelled. The Ray Golf Club, Sleepy Hollow Country Club, even the Norwalk Aquarium. All different excuses. But Daniel says it can't be a coincidence. And it wasn't. It was a masterclass in leverage. Ray, we built their new clubhouse in 2020. The project manager still sends me Christmas cards. Sleepy Hollow. After the 2019 flood, we repaired their entire pro shop, saving them $200,000. Aquarium. We installed their new HVAC system. The curator's daughter works in my accounting department. Dad, Daniel thinks someone is sabotaging us, says he's going to hire a detective. That seems extreme, baby. Does it? He asked if you knew people at these places, if you had connections. I stayed silent. Dad, what did you tell him? That you're just a construction contractor. That you don't have that kind of influence. Just a construction contractor. Even my daughter had bought into Daniel's narrative. Sophia, in 30 years, how many buildings do you think Harmon Construction has built? I don't know. Dozens? 847 completed projects. Shopping malls, offices, restaurants, hotels, country clubs, private homes. Over 30 years, we've employed over 600 people. Subcontractors, suppliers, vendors. We've worked with every major construction company from here to Albany. Silence. When you build someone's dream, Sophia, they remember. When you save their project, solve their problems, deliver on time and under budget, they remember. When you hire their sons, their cousins, sponsor little league teams, they remember. Dad, what are you saying? That maybe Daniel doesn't understand what 30 years of honest work actually builds. At 5:30 p.m., Daniel called me personally. His voice was tight, panic just below the surface. Mark, I need to ask you something. Be honest. Do you have business connections with the venues we were considering? I've worked with various clients over the years. Why? 7 venues canceled our wedding today. 7. That's not a coincidence. Truly strange. Mark, level with me. Are you interfering with my wedding? The question hung in the air. Daniel Harper, who had spent months explaining how insignificant I was, now suspected I had the power to ruin his perfect day. Daniel, yesterday you told me I don't understand who important people are. Today you're asking if I have enough influence to affect your wedding. Which one is it? Silence. You think I'm just a lucky immigrant contractor? How could a man like that have connections with 7 elite venues? Mark, if this is a misunderstanding... No misunderstanding, Daniel. You were perfectly clear about your opinion of me, and I was perfectly clear about understanding my place. What do you want? There it was. The question proving Daniel finally understood who held the power. I want you to have the wedding you deserve, son. A wedding that reflects who you really are. What does that mean? A man building a life on other people's money and hiding crimes shouldn't be throwing lavish parties. Dead silence. Yes, Daniel. I know about Harper Investment, the SEC investigation, your debts. I know who you really are. You can't prove anything. On Monday morning, the FBI will prove everything. But don't think about Monday. Think about tomorrow. Because tomorrow, 150 guests will learn that the man judging everyone else's worth is worthless himself. I hung up. Daniel Harper had asked for important people at his wedding. Tomorrow he would get them. FBI agents, aren't they important people? On Saturday at 8:15 a.m., Daniel showed up at my office unannounced. I was reviewing blueprints when my secretary informed me, "Mr. Harmon, a Daniel Harper is here, very agitated. Send him in." He walked in like he owned the place, but his confidence was fraying. Suit wrinkled, hair disheveled, dark circles under his eyes. This man hadn't slept. "We need to talk." I pointed to a chair. He remained standing, trying to maintain authority in a room that screamed of my success. Awards on the walls, project photos, a frame holding my first building permit from 1995, the American dream in the flesh. "You think you're clever. I think I'm thorough. 11 venues, Mark. Every backup option gone overnight. That's some misfortune. Enough games. You did this. Systematically destroyed my wedding. Used your connections to shut down every venue in the county. Daniel, yesterday you called me just a lucky contractor. Today you're crediting me with controlling every venue in Connecticut. Make up your mind." He started pacing like a caged animal. "This isn't a game, Mark. Sophia is devastated. Her dream is shattered because you can't handle not being invited to the cool kids' table." The cool kids' table. He was still talking to me like a child. "Sit down, Daniel." Something in my tone made him freeze. I said, "Sit down." He sat. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a folder. 4 to 7 pages of SEC documents. Daniel's eyes widened at the sight of the federal letterhead. "Let's talk about games, son. You've been playing a big one. $2.3 million in client funds. 12 wire transfers all to cover your Atlantic City gambling debts." His face went white. "Margaret Hoffman, 82 years old. Retirement account? You transferred $180,000 to your trading account. Told her it was high-yield investments. You can't prove anything. Robert and Susan Chen, both in their 70s. College fund for their grandson, $240,000. Gone." I handed him another document. Bank statements showing transfers to the Borgata Casino. "You know what's interesting, Daniel? For months you've been lecturing me about important people, refined money, social status, while you were stealing from elderly clients to gamble in casinos. It's not theft, it's temporary liquidity management. Even facing federal charges euphemisms. The FBI disagrees. Your clients disagree. The prosecutors who've been building a case for 8 months disagree. How did you... The same way I got the venues cancelled. Relationships, Daniel. Real ones, built on trust and respect, not inherited connections or social polish." He leaned forward, desperate. "Listen, Mark, maybe we can find a compromise. The wedding, Sophia. She doesn't deserve to suffer because of our differences. Sophia deserves better than you. I love her. You love her money. My money. You thought marrying Sophia would solve your financial problems. Give you access to Harmon Construction's assets. Let you pay back what you stole before anyone noticed." His silence confirmed everything. "Here's what's going to happen, Daniel. On Monday morning, FBI agents will arrest you for wire fraud, embezzlement, and securities violations. Your assets will be frozen. Your reputation will be destroyed. The Harper name will become synonymous with financial crime. And Sophia will understand she dodged a bullet. Instead of a criminal, she'll find a man who deserves her." Daniel slowly stood up. "This isn't over." "You're right. It's only the beginning. In 4 hours, 150 guests will learn who Daniel Harper really is." "You son of a bitch. I'm an immigrant who built an empire with honest work. You're a criminal with a trust fund who destroyed elderly people's lives for poker chips. Which one of us is the son of a bitch? On Saturday at 10:30 a.m., Daniel made his last desperate move. I was drinking coffee when Sophia called, her voice shaking. "Dad, have you seen Daniel's Instagram?" I opened my laptop. 30 minutes ago, Daniel had posted a video. Professional lighting, calm expression, sitting in his family's study. The picture of old money perfection. Friends, I need to address the troubling events surrounding my wedding. Certain individuals are using unethical business practices to interfere with private family celebrations. Comments were already flooding in. Harper friends were outraged, social connections expressing support, Connecticut's old money circling the wagons. Without naming names, I want to say, intimidation and business coercion are unacceptable. The Harper family has served this community for 4 generations. We will not be intimidated by those who confuse wealth with nobility. Wealth with nobility. Daniel was doubling down on social hierarchy, even facing federal charges. Sophia was crying, "Dad, it's going viral. Daniel's friends, his family's connections, they're saying terrible things about new money, about immigrants not understanding American values." American values, from a man who stole $2.3 million from retirees. The comments were getting uglier. Someone posted a picture of our house. Immigrant shack. Jealous of old American families. I scrolled through the responses. Margaret Harper, Daniel's mother, had shared the post with her own comment. Some people never learn their place in society, no matter how much money they make. Their place in society. Then I noticed something interesting. Senator Morrison had liked Daniel's post. The same senator who had praised Harmon Construction at project openings more than once. At 11 a.m., a call from Thomas Wright at the yacht club. "Mark, I'm seeing the social media activity. People are questioning your character, your methods. Some board members are concerned about our association." "I understand, Thomas. Listen, I have known you for years. You're solid. But this Harper kid has connections. Real ones. Judges, senators, families with influence. If this gets messy..." "It's already messy, Thomas. The question is whether you believe in what I've built or what Daniel Harper inherited." Pause. "What are you holding back, Mark?" "On Monday morning, Daniel Harper will be arrested by the FBI. Wire fraud, embezzlement, securities violations. He stole over $2 million from elderly clients to cover gambling debts." Silence. "Hell, Mark. You sure?" "I have 47 pages of federal documents, bank statements, client complaints. Daniel Harper is a criminal hiding behind a family name, and he's trying to destroy your reputation to save his." "Right." At 11:45 a.m., I made my own social media post, not a video, just text. Simple and direct. "To the people of Connecticut. Tomorrow, FBI agents will arrest Daniel Harper for stealing $2.3 million from elderly clients. Before judging immigrant values versus American values, ask yourself, which values include stealing grandparents' pensions for poker chips?" I attached one document. A bank statement showing a $180,000 transfer from Margaret Hoffman's account to Daniel's personal expenses in Vegas. The reaction was instant. Margaret Harper called my post fake news and demanded a retraction. Senator Morrison quietly removed his like. 3 board members from the venues called, confirming our business relationships were intact. But the real turning point came at noon, when Robert Chen, the client whose grandson's college fund Daniel had stolen, shared my post with his own story. "This man destroyed my family's future for poker chips, 73 years in America, built a restaurant chain, saved every dollar for education. Daniel Harper stole my grandson's Harvard dream for blackjack." Then Susan Hoffman. "My husband died believing his pension was safe. Daniel Harper spent our savings at the casino while I ate cat food to afford medication. Within 2 hours, 12 more victims had come forward. Retired immigrants, working-class families, average Americans, all robbed by the man lecturing about American values. The comments flipped. Daniel's friends went silent. The narrative shifted from immigrant overreach to criminal exposed. At 2 p.m., Daniel posted another video. The mask of calm was gone, replaced by desperation. "These allegations are false. My lawyers will handle the defamation. My family's reputation will not be destroyed by jealous competitors who—" He didn't finish. At 2:03 p.m., 3 black SUVs pulled up to the Harper estate. The FBI had arrived 18 hours early. Someone had tipped them off that Daniel might flee. That concerned citizen, providing evidence of ongoing financial crimes, might have been an immigrant contractor who understood the difference between inherited privilege and earned justice. On Saturday at 2:30 p.m., as FBI agents searched the Harper estate, I had the most important conversation of my life. Sophia sat at the kitchen table, the same one where Daniel had dismissed my immigrant friends 2 days earlier. Her wedding dress hung upstairs, never worn. Her dreams were collapsing, but her eyes were finally clear. "Dad, tell me everything." I spread the documents on the kitchen table like cards. Bank statements, SEC filings, client affidavits, casino receipts. 2 years of Daniel's criminal activity in black and white. Margaret Hoffman, 82 years old. Daniel convinced her to move her pension to Harper Investment for better returns, then transferred $180,000 to cover his losses at the Borgata. Sophia studied the statements, her hands trembling. She trusted him. They all trusted him. Robert and Susan Chen, retirement savings gone. The Williams family, their daughter's medical fund vanished. 12 families, Sophia. 12 families destroyed so Daniel could chase his gambling addiction. How long have you known? I suspected something Thursday night. Daniel was too eager to marry money, too desperate for access to Harmon Construction's assets. So you hired Leo Carrera? The same insignificant immigrant friend Daniel didn't want at the wedding. The irony wasn't lost on her. The man Daniel deemed unworthy had provided the evidence that would destroy him. Leo found the SEC investigation on Friday morning. The gambling debts, the embezzlement scheme. Daniel thought he was marrying a rich man's daughter to solve his problems. Sophia was silent, absorbing the betrayal. Not just of the clients, but of her. He never loved me, did he? Baby, be honest. He saw dollar signs, right? Saw the value of Harmon Construction and thought he'd found a solution. I nodded. The truth was better than comfort. 3 weeks ago, Daniel asked if I would make you a partner in Harper Investment after the wedding. Said we'd merge the family businesses. I thought it was romantic, but he was planning to use our money to pay back what he stole. Sophia walked to the window. News vans were gathering outside. Word of the FBI raid was spreading. The guests, 150 people. Daniel's family, his partners, our friends, they'll all know. Would you prefer they didn't know what kind of man you almost married? No, you're right. She turned around. Dad, I need to apologize. Sophia, no. Let me. For months, I let Daniel make me ashamed of our family, of you, of our past. I stayed silent when he dismissed your friends, your achievements, your worth. You were in love. I was a coward. I wanted so badly to belong to his world that I forgot where I came from. Forgot who raised me, who sacrificed for me, who built everything I have. She picked up one of the affidavits. Maria Rodriguez, 74, whose home care fund Daniel emptied for a weekend in Atlantic City. This woman lost her home, Dad, because the man I was going to marry stole her savings while I was choosing flowers and trying to impress his mother. It's not your fault. Isn't it? I knew he gambled, knew about the debts, when bills started coming to me, when he started asking about your business, the family assets, I ignored the red flags because I wanted the fairy tale. The kitchen phone rang. Margaret Harper. I let it go to voicemail. Dad, there's more. A month ago, Daniel asked me to sign a loan application. Said it was for business expansion. I almost signed it. I remember. You came to me, asked about possibly investing in his company. I advised waiting until after the wedding. If I had signed it, Dad, I would have been legally responsible for his debts. I was his fallback plan. She sat down, finally grasping the scale of the manipulation. He wasn't just stealing from clients, Dad. He was planning to steal from us too. The good news is he failed. And on Monday morning, justice will catch up with him. Sophia looked at the documents on the table. 12 families ruined, millions stolen, lives broken. Dad, I want to help these families. Mrs. Hoffman, the Chens, all of them. Harmon Construction has to help somehow. That's when I knew my daughter would be just fine. On Saturday at 4 p.m., the Harmon estate was filled with confused energy. Against all odds, Sophia had made a decision. The wedding was cancelled, but the gathering would happen. 150 guests had come for this day. They deserved to know the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Sophia stood on the back patio, still in her wedding dress but without the veil. Behind her, the Hudson River sparkled in the afternoon sun. I know you're confused by the venue changes, the recent messages. I want to explain everything. I watched from the kitchen window as guests gathered on the lawn. Daniel's family in the front row. Margaret Harper pale and furious, surrounded by federal judges and Connecticut's old families. My construction crew in the back, awkward in borrowed suits but loyal to the end. Senator Morrison looking increasingly nervous as FBI agents discreetly took positions around the perimeter. This morning, I learned something about the man I was supposed to marry. It changed everything. A black Mercedes pulled up the driveway. Daniel, released on bail, got out with his lawyer. His face was haggard, his suit wrinkled after processing by the FBI. The $500,000 bail likely stolen from his victims. "Sophia, what are you doing?" he shouted, pushing through the crowd. "Telling the truth. This is a private family matter. There's no need." Daniel Harper stole $2.3 million from elderly clients to fund his gambling addiction. The crowd froze. You could hear the Hudson lapping at the dock. Margaret Harper stood up. "This is outrageous. How dare you make such accusations?" "FBI agents arrested him 6 hours ago," Sophia continued. "Wire fraud, embezzlement, securities violations. 12 families destroyed so he could play poker in Atlantic City." Daniel's face turned red. "Sophia, you're hysterical. The wedding stress, the venue problems." "There were no venue problems, Daniel. My father canceled all the bookings because he found out who you really are." All heads turned to me. I walked out onto the patio with the very folder that had started this chain of events. Margaret Hoffman, my voice carried over the silent crowd. 82 years old. Trusted Daniel with her pension. He stole $180,000 for a weekend in Vegas. The lawyer grabbed Daniel's arm. "Not a word." Robert and Susan Chen, married 50 years. Their grandson's college fund, $240,000 spent on blackjack while they ate pasta to save money. I held up the statements for everyone to see. Maria Rodriguez, 74 years old. After a stroke, she needed home care. Daniel emptied her medical fund for a poker tournament. She lost her home. Senator Morrison was already heading to his car. Other Harper associates were checking their phones, probably calling their lawyers. "But here's what Daniel really thought of all of you," I continued. 2 days ago, he told me, "The wedding only needs important people. Your immigrant friends wouldn't understand the language of real power." I took out my phone, connected it to the portable speaker Sophia had ready for wedding music. Daniel paled. "Mark, don't." "The language of real power, Mark. Old money, established influence. Listen, I don't want to offend, but there's a difference between new money and money refined over generations." Daniel's recording filled the garden. Every word, every insult, every dismissal of the life that had built Harmon Construction. This marriage is a chance for Sophia to elevate herself, become part of something bigger than, well, where she came from. Margaret Harper's face turned to stone. Her son's voice continued from the speakers, explaining how Sophia needed to leave some things behind to be accepted by their family. "You know Mrs. Harper?" I said, stopping the recording. Daniel was right about one thing. This marriage would have elevated Sophia. Elevated her from honest success to complicity in crime. Daniel exploded. "You self-righteous son of a bitch! You think you can destroy my family because we didn't welcome your blue-collar buddies? You think your construction money makes you better than 4 generations of Harper achievement?" "No, Daniel. I think my honest work makes me better than your stolen money." The crowd was riveted. This was better than any soap opera. "You want to talk about achievement? Harmon Construction employed over 600 people in 30 years, completed 847 projects, paid millions in local taxes, created jobs, built communities, earned every dollar with sweat and skill." I pointed at his family. Harper Investment Group stole pension funds from grandparents to pay casino debts. Whose achievements are we celebrating here? Daniel rushed at me, his lawyer barely holding him back. "I'll destroy you. My family has connections you can't even dream of. Your family's connections are running from you faster than rats from a sinking ship." I pointed to the half-empty row where Daniel's business partners had just been sitting. "Senator Morrison left 20 minutes ago. Judge Whitman is in his car calling his lawyers. Your old money doesn't want to be photographed with a federal criminal." Sophia stepped between us. "Daniel, it's over. The FBI has your bank records, client files, testimony from 12 families. You're going to prison." "Sophia, please. We can work through this. My lawyer says—" "Your lawyer says to be quiet because anything you say can be used against you in court." Margaret Harper finally spoke, her voice icy. "Sophia, dear, you're making a mistake. Daniel made some poor financial choices, but he destroyed people's lives for poker chips, Mrs. Harper. While you were teaching him social superiority, you forgot to teach basic humanity." "How dare you?" "How dare I what? Tell the truth." "Daniel spent months explaining to my family that we weren't good enough for you. Turns out, your family isn't good enough for honesty." Agent Rodriguez from the FBI stepped forward. I had called him an hour ago, suggested he observe Daniel's public statements. "Mr. Harper, you are violating your bail conditions by approaching witnesses in the case. You need to come with us." "This is harassment. I have rights." "You have the right to remain silent, which you should have exercised 10 minutes ago." As he was led away in handcuffs for the second time that day, Sophia addressed the remaining guests. "To Daniel's family and friends, I'm sorry you had to learn this way, that you trusted a criminal. To my father's friends, thank you for showing me what loyalty and honor look like. And to the families Daniel destroyed Harmon Construction, will be contacting you this week about victim assistance." The Harper section was almost empty. Connecticut's old money had vanished like smoke when the truth came out. But my construction crew, my insignificant immigrant friends, surrounded Sophia with support and love. Margaret Harper stood alone by the Mercedes. 4 generations of refinement hadn't saved her from her son's crimes. "Mrs. Harper," I called out as she got into the car. "You were right about one thing. Some people never learn their place in society. Your son never learned that his place is to be an honest man, not a criminal robbing the elderly." She drove off without a word. Sophia found me by the river an hour later, as the last guests were leaving. "Dad, did I make the right choice?" I looked at my daughter, beautiful, strong, finally free from Daniel's manipulations. "Baby, you made the only choice that lets you look yourself in the mirror. The Harpers will never forgive this public humiliation. The Harpers will be too busy with federal prosecutors to worry about us." She smiled for the first time in days. What now? Now we get back to being a family that earns respect instead of demanding it. On Monday at 8:47 a.m., Daniel Harper's arrest made the front page of the Westchester Journal-News. Investment manager charged with $2.3 million fraud targeting elderly. The photo showed Daniel in handcuffs, his Princeton ring visible, as FBI agents led him from the courthouse. I was drinking coffee when Sophia called from Manhattan. "Dad, see the news?" "Hard to miss. Channel 12 wants an interview. They are calling it Immigrant Success versus Old Money Crime." I declined. "Good. Let the truth do the talking." At 10:00 a.m., a call from Margaret Harper. "Mr. Harmon, let's discuss settling this misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding, Mrs. Harper. Your son is a criminal. The Harper family has contributed to this community for a century. We can find a compromise that protects both our reputations." "Your reputation was destroyed by your son's choices, not my actions." She slammed down the phone. By noon, it was confirmed. 17 victims, $2.7 million stolen. Prosecutors were seeking 8 to 12 years in prison. That evening, Sophia arrived with food from our old neighborhood. From the restaurant, Daniel called, "Not refined enough for Harper dinners." We ate at the kitchen table where this whole nightmare had begun. "Dad, I've been thinking about what you said. Earn respect, don't demand it. I quit my marketing job." "Seriously?" "I want to work at Harmon Construction." I almost choked on my noodles. "Sophia, you have a Fordham degree. You can work anywhere." "I want to work where I'm proud of what we build, literally and figuratively." 3 months later, Daniel Harper was sentenced to 9 years in federal prison. He'll serve at least 7. The 12 families he robbed received assistance from the Harmon Construction Foundation. We couldn't give them back their innocence, but we helped restore their security. Sophia officially joined the company as Director of Community Relations. Her first project affordable housing for elderly immigrants, the kind Daniel preyed upon. Margaret Harper moved to Florida. The Harper estate was put up for sale. 4 generations of Connecticut prestige ended with 1 generation's greed. Last week, Sophia started dating Leo Carrera's son, a public defender, representing families Daniel would have called insignificant. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's just living well, building honestly, and teaching your children that respect is earned, one relationship at a time. Important people understand that. The rest never mattered.